Tech regaining some momentum today. Let's dig into what went on with the markets with Christopher Davis, partner at Hudson Value Partners. Thanks for joining us today.
Oh, my pleasure, Morella. Thank you for having me.
So a bounce back for NVIDIA. It's up in the $180 range. Last I looked, what kind of separation are you seeing in some of these big tech stocks?
Yeah, well, I think there's certainly a difference between the tech stocks that are sort of the intermediary producers as well as the end hyperscalers. I think this week we finally saw, and in the past month really, people realizing that NVIDIA's margins, they're not going to stay in the gross margins in the 80% range forever, and there will be real competition. And it's just a matter of the market trying to suss out who that competition is. And I think in the past month, and especially this week, we've seen that competition come in the form of Alphabet, as you're putting up there right on the screen. And these TPUs are going to be useful for a number of applications, particularly those in inference, not necessarily in model training. And we think this is, it's a positive for the group because competition is good. And it also means that the AI spend for the likes of Meta, which the market had been particularly concerned about, could end up being lower, and those dollars might go farther.
Okay, so you've made some strong points about the need to safeguard AI, especially, for businesses and governments. Can you expand a little bit on that idea?
Absolutely. We think sovereign AI is possibly one of the most misunderstood terms out there right now. People like to think it's governments just going out and buying a whole stack of chips. And that's part of it. But what's more important is control and ownership over your data. That's what sovereign AI really means. And that's what investors need to think about. If we just want to take an example, pretend it's 10 or 20 years ago, you're in an office environment, most of your data is in filing cabinets. Would you just invite someone who also happens to work for your customers, for your competitors, in to give them free rein and ransack through all your files and figure out whatever they want to learn, maybe give you a report later? I don't think so. In business, we don't hire a consultant without first getting an NDA. We don't hire an investment bank or a law firm without first doing a conflict review. And I think going forward, investors and companies and businesses and enterprises are really going to have to wake up to the need for privacy and data protection within AI. And I think, your prior guest Bailey was talking about a big mover, Dell, today, which is a great portfolio name for us, and we're owners of it and constructive on it, in part because for those businesses that have the money, they are going to want to build out their own private solutions. You're going to want to be less reliant on the cloud, less reliant on just someone else's computer for all your sensitive data. So I think data sovereignty and data privacy around AI are going to be very important going forward.
Yeah, it's amazing how easily we hand out our information, right? We've just gotten used to doing that. We get prompted to do it and we do it. Are there businesses that are already building that sort of closed door AI system? And I imagine Google is one of them because they have so much information from every search we've done. And I think they hold on to that pretty closely.
Yeah, the terms of use on all these services are not exactly favorable to us. They're favorable to the hyperscalers, to the data companies. And you just have to realize that even every time you put a question in, your question, if it's a good question, is helping to sharpen all those models. So there certainly are some private companies and certainly are some public companies that are working on solutions, especially when you think about some of the big banks that you hear about rolling out some sort of private versions of AI and chatbots. But I think it's going to be an area in which you're going to see a lot more development going forward.
Okay, you mentioned Dell is one of the players in the space you like because they can cater to that. Tell me a bit more.
Exactly. Dell, they have the enterprise server and storage business as well as the PC business. So far, AI servers haven't been a particularly high margin business for Dell because it's competitive. But these are the servers primarily that are going into the big data centers. If we think as companies start to deploy this more, we think it's very possible that those that can afford it will use Dell servers, Dell towers, Dell storage solutions for their own private AI systems and solutions within their companies. And that, call it, Fortune, 5,000 type business has really been Dell's sweet spot over the years for bringing out those enterprise solutions that we think could be a lot more profitable over time than the biggest data center, multi-gigawatt type projects that are very competitive right now.
Okay, you also like a company called Amentum Holdings. What do they do?
Yeah. So Amentum is a government contracting, defense contracting, mission critical solutions business. It's based here in the U.S. It was a spinoff. They had a fantastic earnings report yesterday, up about 18%. We gave a little bit of that back today, but you're looking at a $7.3 billion market cap company, 243 million shares outstanding, trading about 12 times forward earnings. And the gem within their business is their nuclear services business. Amentum provides cradle-to-grave solutions for operating nuclear power plants. They help them do so in the U.S. They do it in the U.K. They also work with the U.S. Navy for submarines and other nuclear-powered vessels. And nuclear is one of the hottest themes right now for whether it's just energy security, for powering AI, for powering data centers. And we think Amentum is just one of the best companies that the people out there simply don't own in a very expensive sector and a hot theme. We're excited that the street is finally starting to see this. We've had some price target raises. More investors are getting involved in it, but we still think there's plenty of runway. Like I said, Morella, $7.3 billion market cap company with a $47 billion order backlog. So plenty of runway.
All right, let's get to Deere & Co. They reported earnings. Investors didn't really like the forecast. They make farm equipment, of course, and you like Deere moving forward. Why is that?
Yeah, so we're bullish on Deere going forward, and in part it goes back to our discipline as value investors, and what we seek are those durable franchise businesses. And Deere is just a textbook franchise. They have a strong competitive advantage, a moat, a wonderful dealer network and supply chain, and they're continually innovating and reinvesting. And right now, as we see the market shifting more towards cyclicals, more towards industrials, a little bit away from some of the big tech names, we think for 2026, Deere is going to be in a good position. Management has guided that 2026 is the trough year for earnings and trough year for the agricultural cycle. And Deere has just done a phenomenal job, led by CEO John May, about improving the through-cycle earnings power of the enterprise. The last time Deere and the ag cycle were in this spot was somewhere around 2016. Right now, their margins are 4.5% higher right now than they were at a similar point in the cycle last time. That means that they're going to come out of the cycle with less inventory, more efficiency. They have a great product lineup. They have an investor day coming up in December 8th, new products at CES, and they are real implementers of AI, data, and bringing some of that industrial technology to farmers to improve efficiency, increase crop yields. And we think it's just something that investors should own, particularly in the industrial sector, if you're thinking about a food security theme or how you can make some really smart investments towards the bottom of the cycle.
Got it. Christopher Davis, got to leave it there, sir. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.